Oh. Good evening from High G's. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. and I am excited because I've got somebody to introduce you tonight that I know you're going to love. A lot of you watching are going to know who this is. And the reason I'm so excited is that this is the first person that I've had on, a lady. Not the first lady, but the first lady that I've had on. In fact, the first person that I kind of worked for. One of my first bosses, really, from many, many years ago. In fact, and one of the reasons that I asked her to come on was because she's one of the well, I'll say it, one of the very few people that kind of gave me a chance back in the day, or maybe a second or a third or a fourth chance. But the way in which I was given that chance, I'm not going to say too much more because we'll probably get on to talking about it. But it was probably, I think we're talking about 30 years ago. And so it's been a long, long time since then. I've spoken to her recently. I've spoken to her tonight. We've caught up, but has taken a little bit of convincing to bring her on. So please, for those watching, say hello and give a big, big warm welcome to the one and only Coral Rose. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you, Graham. How are you?
Yes, I am smashing, thank you. And thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
I don't know what I've done. I was fine until about 6 o'clock. And then it was, oh gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Yeah, nervous as hell now. But hey, people can only turn off.
But well, people will only turn on if I know people that have said, "Oh, yes." Do you know what it is? Right? Do you know what it is as well? Right? I'll tell you what it is, and this comes from the mouth of my good lady wife. She says people will always tune in because folk are nosy, and
Yeah.
they want to know what's going on in people's lives.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And it's true. We all are, but we all when names that we've not heard for a while, or even names that we have heard recently or that we're still in touch with, but people that want to know what's going on. So I've just noticed as well that someone's joined the green room. I'd bring her on screen, but she's going to get her own slot soon, and we're here to hear from you tonight.
Is that my partner in crime?
Yeah, watch. I'm just going to do this very, very briefly. Right, watch. Hello.
Yay!
You can stay in the green room, Vicky. So listen, tonight we're going to talk predominantly about well, maybe not. It's the vehicle, right? We're going to talk about music, and we've spoken, and there's nothing that you don't want to talk about. So I'll throw other questions in as well, but we'll kick off with the music, shall we?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. All right. But you made me feel really old when you said you had to listen to it twice. I was like, oh no.
No, it wasn't that I didn't have to listen to it twice. I just had time to listen to it twice.
Okay.
Never really the case. When I didn't recognize it, and then when I put it on, I was like, it reminded me of like, I can't. It was like it must have reminded me of like Boys Brigade or something or other. I think we used to play this song on the. I'm going to say the flute, but it was like more of a recorder. It's Morningtown Ride by the Seekers.
Yeah.
So why did you choose this one?
Oh gosh, this takes me back to when I must have been 4, 5, 6, possibly at the eldest. My mum had this really good friend who was a singer in a bar.
Yeah.
Her name wasn't Pearl. And we used to go as kids. And my dad was really good at dancing, and he used to get me up to dance. And this is the one song that I just remember dancing. And I used to stand on my dad's feet, and he used to dance me around. And then on a Sunday morning, after we'd been out on the Saturday night, on a Sunday morning, my mum would get me up really early to do baking with her. And it'd be on the radio and we'd be singing it at the top of our voices. And it was the one song that takes me back to those happy days of when I was really, I guess, introduced to live music.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just brings back such fond memories of those happy days. Yeah.
You said Sunday mornings were baking.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, every Sunday morning without fail.
What was was your favourite?
Well, Mum I don't think I had a favourite as such, but Mum used to make me make the cakes. She used to do all the pastry, and I used to have to do all the cakes for our pack-ups, for my dad's pack-up and my brother's pack-ups all week.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do pastry. It just get gloopy. So I used to do all the cakes. And we'd just have the radio on blasting out. And just happy times. And my brothers used to lay in bed, and I used to be so jealous. Why can they lay in bed and I can't? I have to get up and work.
Yeah. Cakes and listen to the Seekers.
Yeah. And then I remember we used to have a little Morris Traveller, not a Morris Minor, a Traveller. So it's like an estate version with the wooden panels.
Yeah.
And I used to have to, there was obviously mum, dad, and the 3 kids. So I used to have to go in the boot. And I'd go in there and I'd lay down in the boot. And the words in the song always, train whistle blowing, you don't know where you're going to be going. And we'd never do, because we'd go on day trips. We wouldn't have holidays. We'd go on day trips and we never knew where we were going. So that was another reason why that came back to us. And me and Mum again would be singing it at the top of our voices. Yeah.
And you were like,
with the cakes that we'd baked from the day before.
In the pack-up.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
You're about 4 or 5 around then.
Because my mum worked on the land, and so my dad worked for a farm, and my mum worked on the land.
Yeah. And
I remember in the school holidays, if I didn't go to my nan's, I would go to work with my mum.
Okay.
And we would just sit and. Well, to be honest, I can't remember what we did do, but and I think the earliest I went was maybe about 5 or 6, but it would only be the odd day. They wouldn't let us go all the time.
Yeah.
And then obviously as we got older, they'd let us go, with a mum, because Mum used to drive the van and pick everybody up on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good old Lincolnshire Fens. I know it well.
So when you were going to work with your mum, what did you want to do? Did you have any idea what you wanted to do, like for a job back then?
No, I had no idea at all. Nothing. No, my dad worked with horses as well. On the farm, he'd do all the lambing and the combine harvester, harvest season. We never saw my dad, and then lambing season, and then we had the groom was a really good friend of ours. So I knew I wanted to do something with animals. I thought that's what I thought I was going to do, because we were surrounded by them on the farm. It wasn't our farm, but we lived right next to the farm. We had a tied house to the farm. Yeah. And I spent all my time sort of around the farm, either going to take Dad a flask of something or a cold drink, or going to work with Mum on the farm. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be animals.
But well, I mean, it wasn't too far from it, was it?
It was pretty damn close at times. I think I had good training.
That seems like a really perfect just opportunity to ask about what you remember about when we met, about the time, the place, the people.
Oh my God. I have this memory, and since I've agreed to do this vision, this memory still keeps coming back to me. And I remember walking to because this I don't know where I'd been. I remember just walking in. I think this was on my second tour. If I remember, I can't really. Yeah, it'd be my second tour coming back to Buchan.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in the crew room. You, Fraser, Mark James, and Karen, or Titch and Pinky, as we knew you then.
Yeah.
Karen was in the bin. She was in the bin. And I'm like, what on earth is going on? What? This has just brought this to a new level. And I'll always remember it. You'd put her in that black plastic bin. What on earth's going on? What?
Legs poking out.
It was just crazy. It was just crazy. And I remember Karen used to say to us, don't let him eat blue Smarties. Don't let him eat the blue Smarties. And if she had to go on position, we had to take the blue Smarties out of the Smartie tube. So you wouldn't have them. Because you would go mental. Into bouncing around the crew room. It was just crazy.
Oh,
I'll always remember that. Yeah, that was a bit of an eye-opener. I was like, oh my God, what have I come back? It was bad enough when I was there the first time when we used to debag the airmen and hang their trousers over the bridge and then make them go in the morning to go and fetch them. Or there'd been wool wrapped around the legs of the crew room chairs. And yeah, but this was a whole new level. People in bins.
Oh, dearie me. Crikey. So it was a perfect time to ask that. I want to like just go back, sort of between you joining the RAF and that sort of time when you were growing up near the farm. So at what time was it that you decided that you wanted to join the RAF, and kind of what brought that about?
None of my family were in the military at all. The nearest we got was my granddad that worked on the railways.
Yeah.
And then my eldest brother, Howard, wanted to join the Marines, the Royal Marines. Okay. And as a young kid, I looked up to him. I really did. He was my hero. My brother was my hero. He was off to join the Marines, and he joined just before the Falklands. And I just thought, he was going off playing sport, and we were both big into sport. We did an awful lot of sport for school and for the county. And I thought, wow, what an opportunity. I can go and play sport all over the world. Yeah. And I didn't quite get all over the world, but I did play a lot of sport, and I was always jetting off somewhere. But yeah, and I think that was it then. I wanted to do sport, and I thought the military, this is what I want to do. And I was smitten. There was no looking back. That's what I wanted to do. And Howard was the driver for that, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
He was my big brother, and I looked up to him, and I could see how smart he was and how passionate about what he wanted to do, and how driven he was.
Brilliant. So, did he go into the Marines, did he?
Yeah, he joined up. I can't remember if it was 78 or 79.
Yeah.
And he missed the Falklands by literally a couple of months because he wasn't 18. So he couldn't go. And then not long after that, my other brother, he joined the Air Force. And I was the last one to join, but I think my other brother was kind of like, oh, them two are going. I don't want to miss out on this kind of thing. But and so it proved it because yeah. But he didn't survive. Me and Howard did the longest between it. Yeah. Right. So.
Crikey. So that's how it all came about.
Yeah, and it really was. I'm convinced it was Howard that kind of talked me in. He didn't talk me into it because he wanted me to go in the Navy. Yeah. And I wanted to go to sea, and obviously females couldn't go to sea then. And I definitely didn't want to go in the army. Thought that is not for me. So I opted for the middle ground, and got straight in. So right. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to talk more about that because the next question. Well, but we're going to do your next song first, if that's all right. Okay. I don't know whether or not they kind of seemed quite chronological, but the next one is by Judy Street, and it's What. So, tell us about this one.
Again, this was down to my brother, Howard. He introduced me to Northern Soul.
Right.
And whenever he'd come home at weekends, he would say, come on, because Lincolnshire's big in Northern Soul and Tamil Motown and things like that. And we'd go off to dancing at weekends. That we'd find a club that had got Northern Soul, and that's all we'd dance to. And he would leave me some of his records, and I would play them over and over and over again. And what Mum used to say, what are you playing now? Can you not play something else? And it was all Northern Soul. Gone was Morning Town Ride. That was way in the distance now. Mum, that's old stuff. I'm not listening to that. And Judy Street, and it kind of summed up, and it led on to different Northern Soul. There was so much, and I'm still learning now. It's still my genre of music, and I play it and I play it. It's my go-to whenever I'm feeling low, whenever I'm down and I want something. It's Northern Soul, because it brings back the happy times at home. Being with my brother, going to those dances and dressing up in. I used to remember the old OJs, the green, olive green, right? He'd got an old pair, and they used them like quite straight. But I remember taking the stitching out, and so they were quite baggy, so they looked like bags. And I'd wear them with my Harrington jacket, and we'd go off dancing, and we'd spend all night. It wasn't about drinking then; it was about dancing and listening to Northern Soul and Tamla Motown all night long, all night. And and we'd those were the days we didn't have mobile phones or anything, and he would ring up, and I would grab the phone, and I would say to him, "Have you got what's Northern Soul? What's your new song? What's the new song?" kind of thing. And and to this day we still share songs. We send them on WhatsApp all the time. We'll send another song, and what is the one that is still my ring tune today?
After all these years.
After all these years, it comes back.
Is that your ring? Is that your ringtone for everyone, or just for your brother?
It was just for my brother,
right? But
I'm a bit of a biff when it comes to getting more music on my phone, so I've kind of like put it across the board. I've got about 2 different ones, and I've one for some of my girlfriends, and that's Fat Bomb Girls.
I was going to say, do you have any like offensive ringtones? Do you have a ringtone for somebody that if you like told them what it was on air, they would be like mortally offended?
Well, I didn't. It took me a long time to reveal Fat Bomb Girls to my mate. That was her ringtone. But she just laughed, so that's fine.
That is a great tune, though.
Oh God, yeah. But that's a whole different story, and that's the one to be shared here. But so no, I only have a couple, because, like I say, when I'm trying to put music on my phone, it is, forget it. I just forget it. I just
challenging.
I do find it quite challenging, because I have to put it onto my SIM card. I have to get it off and then put it on, because I don't have an iPhone. I'm Android, and it's Northern Soul. I can play it anywhere, and I just flick it on. Yeah, it's cool.
Brilliant. There you go. So, well, that was. So, how old were you then? Around that time, do you think?
I was about 15, I think. Okay. 15, 16. Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't be long after then that you joined.
No, I joined. Well, I was still. No, I literally just turned 18 when I joined.
Right. Okay.
And
So what was the sequence of events? Where did you sort of where did you go first? I mean, it would have been the Swinderby, West Drayton, and then what came after that for you?
Buchan.
Was it straight to Buchan?
Straight to Buchan, and I volunteered for it. I wanted to go. Yeah. We all had a choice where we wanted to go, and whoever put Buchan down got it. Simple as that. And so I pretty much knew. They told us from the start, and Pat Baker and Paul McKinnon were my instructors, and they pretty much said, "You put Buchan down, you're going to get it." And I always wanted to go to Scotland. I've never been, and I always wanted to go. And so when I got it, I was over the moon, absolutely over the moon. I got it. I was quite happy, apart from the 10-hour journey up there on the train. Arriving pitch black, and have to hug all our baggage up the road to NFL. That was horrendous. And then I have to go and fetch your bedding from the guard room. And I didn't see anything because it was just so pitch black. And I remember getting there and opening, the next morning I got up and I opened my curtains. I opened them and went, shut them again. I just went, what the hell? It was just a fog, or sea har, and
the Buckenhar.
Nothing like it. And a radome, and that's all. That was about it. That was the only view I had, and I thought, oh God, what have I done?
How long was that first tour then?
My first tour was three and a half, I think. So I arrived in 86 and I left in January 89. So yeah, it was just 3 years.
Right.
And I went down to
standout moment, or is there something, anything that stands out about those 3 years in particular?
Oh God,
too many to mention, isn't there?
There's too much. I guess it was the sport more than anything. When you were at Buchan, there was not many females, if you like, and so if you played one sport, you played them all, and that's when we travelled. And it was in the days when we used to fly with British Airways. We'd go down from Aberdeen down to Heathrow.
Yeah.
And it'd be the same girls. Going down.
Yeah.
And Vicky will remember this. We were going down to, we got through to the Strike Command Championship, the final in the netball.
Yeah.
And there was little Gwenny Stewart, Jill Sutherland, me, Vicky, Yvonne Clements, as she was then. And before the plane had even leveled out, we'd got our fingers on the button wanting alcohol. And the stewardess came up and said, you're going to have to wait. She said, I can't bring the trolley up while we're climbing. You're going to have to wait till we've leveled out. But true to her word, as soon as she got to it, as soon as the plane leveled out, she'd come up with a trolley. And she came to us, right, what can I get? And she said, are you air stewardesses or whatever? And Gwenny Stewart said, yeah, I'm Air Lingus, in a Island accent. And Yvonne Clements, I'm Air Botswana. Well, we just fell apart. It was hilarious. It was so fun. And that just set the stream for it. We went everywhere. We used to jet off everywhere. We were so lucky. Not just netball, but volleyball, hockey. Was never there really. I
don't think that I ever saw you play netball, but I have it on very reliable from very reliable source that that there were quite a few of you that were pretty nasty on that netball court, right?
Never. It's a non-contact sport, I'll have you know.
That's not what I heard. Was there any occasions where anything got nasty on the netball court that you remember?
I think I don't know if you remember somebody called Joan Baptiste.
I remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a UK athlete. She was in the Air Force, but she was a UK athlete.
Yeah.
And I can't remember I think it was Gwenny Stewart that lost the ball to her and nearly stuck a size 5 up her bum as she walked. She turned.
Oh yeah.
But no, I don't remember us getting nasty at all.
No,
we played fair. We played.
Didn't play dirty at all. I can see her. She's not. It doesn't look like she's agreeing with you on the. No, she's shaking her head.
But we won. We won. We're a really, really good team. We're a really strong team. For saying that we were a unit right at the top of Scotland and very few females.
Yeah.
But I guess when you're at Buchan, there wasn't much else to do really, apart from play sport or get drunk, really. So the two went hand in hand.
To do it all. Yeah. So what sports? What other sports did you play?
We played volleyball.
Yeah.
Hockey, badminton. I played netball for command and the WAF team. And I played badminton for command and station. But I played pretty much everything. I think it was just trying to get time off as well and get on free flights to wherever.
I just have to bring it in for a second.
Good girl.
Mighty close by. I love them.
I think I'll put this comment up as well here. There's loads of comments in here, but I'll maybe if are you all right? Well, should we put a few comments up just whilst we've had a little break there? So Julie said had many fabulous netball tours, notably Germany.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, there she goes. The Eversheds, nightmare, aggressive team. Yeah. I'll bet.
I once went with Neatishead, where Pat Baker arranged it. She was doing a tour just before Christmas, so it happened. And we went and we were staying, I can't remember, around Darwin, I think. And it was just a piss up. It really was. But stupid me said, I'm going to do my umpire qualification while I'm there.
All right, okay.
How I did it, I don't know. I haven't got a clue, because we were literally on the court all day, and then we were going out, but we were going out like 10 o'clock at night. And I remember one night we were getting ready to go out, and there was this couple, because we stayed in this, it was where the families used to be able to stay when they came over to see the people that were serving, sons and daughters that were serving. Yeah. And we're getting ready to go out, and this older couple are coming in. And they passed us in the corridor, and thinking, oh my God, we're just on the way out and they're coming in. And you could just imagine what they thought that the noise was going to be in the morning. But I think we were relatively well behaved, and we used to get in like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I would be on the court. It was all right for them. They could lay in bed. I had to get out on the court and go and umpire and do my qualification.
Okay.
And I did it. I don't know how I did it. I don't know.
Because you.
And I remember coming back on the minibus, and we all had to sit with our knees up like this, because the bottom of the minibus was just covered in alcohol, boxes and boxes of alcohol.
Oh dear. Was that like a standout tour, that one, or were there any other sort of sports tour? I'll come on to actual tours, at bases, but yeah, as far as sports tours go,
I think that would be one of the
standout.
Yeah, one of the standout ones that we went on, and the other one oh God, we went again. We were in the final, and it was volleyball this time.
Yeah,
and we were playing at Holton. No, that's a lie. We were. I think we were accommodated at Holton, but we were playing at West Drayton, and the Swamp Donkeys were down in the rugby sevens, and I think our game was the next day, and we met up with the guys at Holton.
Yeah.
And it was just, we went down on the train, they flew down, because I think theirs was over 3 days or something like that. I can't really remember. And ours was just overnight, and we trained it down. And then I can't quite remember, but that night, it's just me and Fiona McCluskey, she's now Fiona Cordner. You remember Fiona? We had said we're going to have a swear box on the way down on the train.
Yeah.
And before we'd even got to London, I think we'd got something like 30 quid in the swear box. And that was just 6 of us. And we said we've got to find somewhere to get this money. And we had little tasks that we had to do, and we had to find something that would hold the money, but we weren't allowed to pay for it.
Okay.
So Fiona and I went to the kiosk in King's Cross Station, I think it was, and we charmed the BTP woman into giving us this thing. I can't remember what it was. It was like a post box or something or other, but it was a little red money tin, and we charmed her into giving us it. And we filled it, and we kept going around and saying to people,
kitty.
Sorry?
And was that your kitty then?
That was our kitty. And we never bought a drink. We never bought everybody else bought us drinks. Because we kept going around and saying, if you were born further north than Fiona Cordner, then you don't have to put money in the tin. And I don't know if people know, but Fiona Cordner was born in Aberdeen.
So there
you go. And she's more or less, unless you really listen to her, you'd think she was English. It was hilarious. It was so funny. So that was the second one. And then being with the Swamp Donkeys, well, you can imagine that was just crazy. That was just crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we came back into Aberdeen, and they flew back in, and we had to go and pick them up from Dice Airport. And the party just carried on that night. It was just absolutely chaos. And it was absolute chaos. I don't think anybody survived that tour, really.
So what about where you were stationed throughout your career? What would you say was your favourite tour, and why?
My favourite tour? Well, apart from, I loved Buchan. The 2 tours I did at Buchan were fantastic. But I think my best tour ever was Halton.
Right.
Out of trade. I was worked on ACS, teaching obviously corporals to sergeants.
Yeah.
I learned so much about myself. I just loved it, and I met such a great bunch of people from different trades, total different trades, and we're still friends to this day. There was
what was the biggest sort of insight or takeaway from that? You said that you learned a lot about yourself. So how different did you come away? What changed?
I think my patience and understanding that I always had to fight against my brothers, because I had 2 brothers, and I had to stand up for myself. Yeah. And I learned that my patience was stronger than my bite, if you like. And if you wait long enough, it'll come round. Yeah. And I think that was the one thing I learned. And it was really bizarre, because if we had as we used to call them, a problem student, I used to get them. I used to get the problem student. I think, why have I got it? And they say, because you've got the most patience, Coral. What? I don't see that. And and that was the one thing I really learned, that, if you wait long enough, it'll come around. And just don't react. Just try not to react to things. And
it's not always that easy, is it? But I know exactly what you mean. It's like there's nothing really to be gained, is there, in kind of blowing up? And that's interesting, because that's what I remember about the opportunities that I had from yourself and a few others, Vicky included, where I was given a chance, but I wasn't shouted and screamed at. I wasn't bawled at. Well, not all the time.
No,
but it was what I really admired the most, and like stopped me in my tracks and made me really kind of take stock, was that you were never afraid to tell the truth, and it showed that you cared. But it was like you would be so blunt about, and for me at that point in my career, I was going one of 2 ways, and it really was that kind of cut and dry. And I remember some of the discussions that you were quite, and I look back and I know it's because that you cared, and because you were like, it doesn't have to be like this, that you gave me an extra opportunities, but you were like, listen, it's last chance saloon, Richardson. It's like, you got to start like kind of playing the game properly. I'm not saying don't do any of this stuff, but stop getting caught.
And it was pretty much that. It was, and I learned that. It's just, people, if you give people enough rope, they'll hang themselves. But it's knowing, and I do pride myself on telling the truth to people and saying it as it is. I do say that, and Vicky and I were very much like that, and we still very much like that. We'll tell each other how it is. And we don't hide back. We don't hide behind it. We'll say it as it is. And
now,
I think sometimes
do you not think that's rare to find in a friend? Because those are the keepers. Those are the true friends. The ones that know, that that idea of love, like is not always like an arm around the shoulder. Sometimes it's a bit up the arse. And you kind of, it takes a real true friend to kind of call you out sometimes, to say to you, listen, come on.
I think that I value that in all my friends, that they'll just tell me as it is, because we're not perfect. None of us are. We've all done things that maybe we shouldn't have done, or maybe we could have taken a different path. And it is, I think you rely on your friends to try and steer you in the right direction. So, it worked for you.
Yeah, well, it did. Yeah, it still seems to be working. So of all those things that maybe we've done and shouldn't have had to, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you which one that you like.
What I shouldn't have done. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can.
No regrets. No regrets.
That's what I was going to ask. Any regrets? None.
No. I don't know. It's made me the person I am today. I don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I have to ask you this now before we come on to the next song. I was tempted, or you tell me, right? You can choose whether or not you want to talk about your next song, or whether or not you want to tell me when and why you left the Air Force. What comes first? You choose. We'll get to both, so you can choose.
Let's do the next song.
Let's do the next song. Okay, brilliant. All right, so it's You're the Voice by John Farnham. This is quite an uplifting song.
Yeah.
What's the story?
Well, this I found, believe it or not, and this is ironic. I listened to this when I was in the first Gulf War.
Okay.
I was at Prestwick at the time, and I can't remember the warrant officer's name. And Di Harry was my flight sergeant. Graham Addison was there. That's another story. We'll come on to that one. And I was taken into the office one first shift, because again, we worked shifts there. And he sat me down, the warrant officer, and he said, Coral, you're going away to Booking to do a course. He said, and then you're going away on a deployment. Oh, right, yeah. Where am I going? Somewhere nice? Somewhere hot? Yeah. Yeah, you're going to the Gulf. I went, what? Get lost. Of course I'm not. And I honestly thought he was pulling my leg. And there was windows all down the side between the two offices. And I looked, and all four people that I worked with were all staring at me. All solid, stark faces, just.
Yeah.
And I went, you're not joking, are you? And he went, no.
Crikey.
And I remember coming out of there.
Your head then.
Well, I think I was in shock at the time. And I remember coming out and ringing my mum and saying to Mum, I've got two others. They should be going to war, not me. And there's just words in that song that really hit a chord with me. You're the voice, try and understand it. And we look at each other down the barrel of a gun. And that really, really meant something to me. And it was like, you can either do something about this, you can either embrace it, you're here and get on with it, or you walk away. And I embraced it. And I think I did my job to the best of my ability. We counted the jets in, we counted them out. And so it was quite poignant, that one, to me. And whenever I hear it, it takes me back to that. I made the decision that, I was sticking with it and I was staying in.
Right.
So that was my voice saying to me, yeah, this is for you. This is what you wanted to do.
Was it 6 months you had out there?
Just over 3 months.
Oh,
just over 3. We came You know what? I can't really remember. It was just, I think it was just over 3, just short of 4. Yeah, I can't really remember, but it was about, it's about that. So
Right.
yeah.
Crikey.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
And did you, like you said, you make the most? Did you? I know it's a kind of a, say, did you enjoy your time out there? But did you've made the most of it? I'm guessing there were enjoyable moments, but it's a pretty serious kind of, it's a serious shift, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, and it is the big joke. I've got quite a few army friends, and they always joke about being in the hotel. And we were in a hotel.
Oh,
I think we're back.
yeah, we're back. I'm not sure what happened there. So you were in a hotel.
We were in a hotel, yeah. We worked between 2 blast walls in the back of a Land Rover, but we lived in a hotel. So it was the old cliche that the Air Force go to war in hotels. Because we did. And that's where my good friend Karen Hewson, I met her. She was the corporal on my shift, and we've remained really, really good friends as well. Yeah, we had quite a few moments out there together. It was good. Yeah.
So when you came back from the Gulf, that back to Prestwick, was it? Then
I went back to Prestwick briefly.
Yeah.
And then I got promoted and came back to Buchan.
Back to Buchan.
And that's when I walked into you and putting Karen in the bin.
Oh, crikey.
And
what changed between that first and second tour then, do you think?
Oh, I'd like to say I grew up. I think I realized that, you can still have a good time, but it was serious that now there would be people looking to you as much as you were looking to them. We kind of, there was a lot of characters, but and I keep saying this, the characters, real characters that knew that they had something about them, and we had to develop that. And I'm guessing all my friends on here all say exactly the same. It was, you had to make a decision. You either got on with it or you got out. Yeah. It was as simple as that. You could have a good time, but as I've said to you, don't get caught.
But that sort of change, that kind of, promotion and kind of having to change and having to sort of, like you say, grow up a little bit. But that, at that point in time, what would you say then? Obviously, you've got promotion, you kind of come back, new people, maybe some people the same there, to kind of do that, that job to the best of your ability. What kind of motivated you or inspired you back then?
Again, my brother had a big influence on me, the way he was getting on. Jill and Hamish Sutherland. Hamish was a big influence. I looked up to him an awful lot.
Yeah.
I loved the way he was with people, the way that he was able to, he was still, everybody admired Hamish because of just the person he was, I think. And I wanted to be more like that. And Vicky was a big influence on me as well, because she'd already got her tapes. Yeah. And everybody admired her as well. She'd done really well. And I think I wanted some of that. I wanted some of that recognition, I guess. And I wanted to make something of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were my, Hamish and Jill were really, really good friends, and they helped me an awful lot.
Right. Yeah. Hamish was sergeant on, was he sergeant on A-Watch at that time?
Yeah, Jill was on corporal on B shift.
Yeah.
Vicky was a corporal come onto my shift, onto D shift. So she was my corporal. And then I went back as a corporal. And then Hamish went into training. And I think he did come back onto shift at some point, but I can't remember what happened after that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, so from there, that was, and I mean that. So, how long then did you stay in? How many more years did you stay in for?
I left 26 and a half. I did in the end.
Wow. Right.
Yeah, I took redundancy in 2012.
Okay.
I said, that's enough. I've had enough. It's time to go.
Crikey. So that's coming up for 10 years then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crikey. So what was enough? Was there one thing, or was it was it more of a I want to leave before I stop enjoying it kind of thing, or was there something that
I was going to get posted back to Bulmer, and I'd managed to go out of trade quite a few times. I'd done tours and I'd been out of trade, and I much preferred that. I didn't want to go back into the trade. I didn't want to be stuck in a bunker again. I didn't want to be a flight controller. I didn't want it. I just didn't want it. And I said, right, it's time to jump. And thankfully I fell in the bracket, and I said, that's it. I'm off. And I was here at Waddington. Said I'd never, ever come back home. I was going. And then I finished at Waddington and stayed. And I love Lincoln. I just, I look at the cathedral and it pulls at my heartstrings. And I think, this is home. This is home. And it was time. It was time to leave.
It is a beautiful place, I have to say. Yeah. So that was over almost 10 years ago. What would you say then, that of everything that you learned when you were in, which is, a career span in 26 and a half years, you've learned a lot, professionally, personally. What is if you could call out maybe one or two things that's been most useful since leaving, what would you say?
Keep a sense of humor. Oh my God, yeah, keep a sense of humor. And the other thing is, always expect the unexpected. Remain flexible, because you never know what somebody is going to hit you with. Oh God, the times I've thought, my God, thank God that wasn't me. Somebody said something, or always have that thought, the switch that goes, don't say it as much as you want to say it. Don't. Yeah, thankfully I had good friends that warned me about situations that I could have been in.
Yeah.
And they would be the things I'd take away. Keep a sense of humor, because laughing will take you through anything, any situation.
Oh, I want it.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a time you remember where you were just a little bit too late, and it was out before you knew it?
Oh my God. There was, I don't know if it's the right context, but I remember being at Prestwick, and you'll remember the days of bare deltas and what have you.
Yeah.
And Buchan rung up and asked, they'd got 2 aircraft coming over. Did we know what they were? And I went, yeah, the 2 bare deltas, door numbers 27 and 36. And all I heard was him turn around and say to the IDO, it's 2 bare deltas. They went, no, stop. No. And everybody Di Harry was there at the time. He said, what have you done? I said, nothing, forget it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that didn't go down. Everybody else saw the funny side, but yeah.
Crikey.
Yeah, I nearly put my foot in that one. Oh.
Right, let's do your next song. I think it's timely, actually, given you saying always keep a sense of humor, because your next song is Shiny Happy People by REM.
Oh, I just love this. This brings back so many happy memories. Again, Prestwick, such a small place, and I was only there for a short period of time, but got so many memories from there. And the first person that springs to mind is Graham Addison. We didn't get very many call outs, as you can imagine, being at Prestwick. But when we did get a call out, the first person in would have to get the minibus and go and pick everybody up.
Yeah.
Well, we were on nights, and Graham had been stood down, because every now and again in the days when you used to be able to get a stand down from work.
Yeah.
And Graham had been stood down that night. And how he managed it, I don't know. But he was the first person to turn up that morning. And I was going around with the keys, opening the offices. And as I'm coming down the stairs, he's coming up with this great big smile over his face. I pushed in this big front. And I said, you can't be. You've got to go. I can't drive, Coral. I can't drive. And he was just laughing and laughing. And he was hammered, absolutely hammered. And so whenever I hear this song, it just brings back him.
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, when I went to Bulmer and I was in basic ASOP, it would come on the radio. And the next thing, all I would hear would be David Kinnaird laughing, just laughing. And him and Brian Shendon and Jess Lawton being up to something. And it would just be these shiny, happy people that would just be laughing the whole time. Just so many happy memories. And it always seems to be, oh, you Scottish people laughing about being drunk or something ridiculous. And Fraser would sit there and laughing. I remember one time he had got, he was trying to wind Mark James up about the new, I can't remember whether it's Celtic goalkeeper shirt or something. And he said it was looked like sick or something like that. And Mark James was falling for it. And it was just stupid, absolutely stupid. But we just sat there laughing and laughing. And whenever it comes on the radio now, I just remember Graham's Jeezy Fit and Davy Kinnaird and Brian Shendon and just laughing, just the happiness that just filled the room. And I'd be sat in the office next door just giggling away at just those happy memories.
Do you know, so David was on a couple of weeks ago and I asked him, you know, what makes you smile? What makes you laugh? And he just said everything.
And it was. Yeah. It pretty much was. Yeah. He was always laughing. And it just seemed to be whenever this came on the radio, because we could have a radio in the office then and we'd hear it. And I just automatically, the next breath would be Davy Kinnaird laughing at the top of his voice about something absolutely ridiculous, something really stupid.
Brilliant. So I'm gonna come on to you've talked about sort of when you left. That was almost 10 years ago. So what have you done in that time? What have you done since leaving?
Oh, well, I think anybody, when they leave, they don't and really know what you want to do. I know a lot of my friends were very much, what am I going to do? But I'd always wanted to work for the police.
Yeah.
And I think it was the attraction of the uniform, because I never know what to wear. And I just thought, if I've got a uniform, I don't have to worry about it, do I? I don't have to think about what I've got to wear in the morning. I tried Civvy Street. I tried doing that. Didn't work. Couldn't. Yeah. So I didn't join the police, but I went into the control room. And again, it's got to be disciplined. But I love it. I love the fast pace. And I've been doing that 8 years this year.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, 8 years in September.
Right. So you enjoy that?
I love it. And again, it's a team of people, very similar to being in the ops room back in the day. And you have to work so closely with people. And again, it's dark sense of humour. And my military humour really does come to the forefront, because you have to really put up with some crap. And the things you deal with and the things you hear, yeah, you've got to you've got to keep a sense of humor, because if you didn't, I would have left with stress 5 times over by now, I think.
Right. So there are similarities then. There are similarities to the sort of environment.
Oh God, yeah. There's some characters, a couple of characters in the control room that take me back, and I think, yeah, you've either got to buck up or get out, because this is not the environment for you. Yeah, and it is having that discipline, and again, I guess I'm seen as the mummy of the of the shift again. There are a few people older than me. I'll just say that before we go any further. But they do look up to me, and I have a couple of work daughters.
Right, that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. It is nice. It is nice, and they'll come and ask me. And for saying I'm relative, 8 years is nothing compared to some of the guys in there. But I've got a bit of life experience, I guess, and that's what they look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you miss most though, about not being in? What do you miss most about the Air Force?
The camaraderie and the travel. Definitely.
Yeah.
I know I've got a team where I am, but it's not the same. You have to make friends so fast in the military. And your buddies within days, not weeks, not months, but within days. And I really miss that. And I miss that. And I miss going places and doing your job for real. I mean, I'm doing it now for real, obviously, because it's officers' lives that are at risk.
Yeah.
And the public that are at risk. But I just miss that camaraderie and that just the fun that we used to have, and the silly pranks, and nobody really taking offense to anybody. And now people are a bit uptight, and some they don't. Yeah, Civvy Street's not the same. It's not the same.
Times changed as well, right?
It has. Society's changed, and now you can get sued for putting your tissue on the desk, for goodness sake. It's just not the same. No,
it isn't. So a slightly more serious question, because I'm always interested to hear what people have done since they've left the Air Force as well. And it's not always plain sailing, right? Like life has its ups and downs. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge since leaving, and how have you sort of overcome that?
Losing my mum was my
your biggest challenge. When was that?
It's 3 years ago this next week.
Right. Okay.
And realizing that I was on my own, because my mum was my best friend, and we used to talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. She was stolen from me, and I'll never get over that. I'll never get over that.
Yeah, it was. I remember talking to you about this. It was. I don't know whether or not you want to talk about it or not. It was a horrible situation that kind of took her from you, wasn't it?
She was killed by a drink driver in a road traffic collision.
Yeah.
The day after my birthday, 3 years ago. I never had the chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It was really, really tough. And my brother lives down in Devon, and as close as we are, it was that the distance between us, not having somebody to lean on.
Yeah.
I had to stand up and be mum for the family, I guess.
Right. What kept you going? I mean, apart from the fact that you'd had no choice, but I guess that's a real bitter one to kind of to swallow as well. Were you angry?
Oh, very, very angry. very angry. There was no need for it. There was absolutely no need. As far as I was concerned, he murdered my mum. He got in that car knowing that he was over the limit.
Yeah.
But the one thing, and this is the one thing that kept me going, was my mum, because she always said, go live your lives. Go live your life, make memories, because nobody can ever take your memories. And I had to do it for her memory. And that will always resound in my head. Every day I think of that and I think, you're right, Mum. Nobody can ever take my memories. No, nobody. She brought me up to be strong. She always said that you're your mum's daughter. And she was right, making me get up at 8:30 on a Sunday morning to bake cakes and do all those things. And she was right. Without her, I don't think I would have got through. I wouldn't have got through it without her strength.
Yeah.
Without her strength.
And that strength lives on in you as well. And that's so, that you take that from her and you take that forward, right?
Oh God, yeah. There was times that, she would say to me, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, I've had 2 marriage failures, and but she said, that's what makes you who you are. You've got through those, you'll get through the next ones. And not that I'm going to get married again, but you know what I mean. I'm not going to have another couple.
Never say never.
Yeah,
come along.
she would tell me how it was, and I think that's why I've got my forthrightness from her as well, because she didn't hold back. She would tell me exactly how it was. And she made me promise that, just go and live your life, be the best that you can possibly be. Her words resound in me, and that's what makes me carry on, and that's what helped me get through it. It was a tough time. So
it's perfectly move up. We've got one more song left as well, and just where we're kind of at the moment. The last song is "Time Will Pass You by Toby Legend. What I guess a perfect time to kind of bring that one in. Is there maybe something in the words with this one? What's the story?
This one has been one of my favorites from early on Northern Soul days. And it was none more poignant than after my mum passed. Just time goes by so quickly. And those words, those lyrics were never truer than what they were then. Life is precious, and it is. You've got to make the best of it for who you are. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past, because that's made you who you are today. But live it as if you're not going to be here tomorrow. And that was her motto, go make memories. And this song it's always been one of my favorites. And just listening to the vocal, the lyrics of it, just make me want to think, I'm not going to waste that chance. I'm not going to waste that pain that my mum went through bringing me into this world. I'm not going to regret what I've done. I want to make the most of what I can possibly be and learn from some mistakes, learn from everything, and learn from other people. Every day's a school day. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah. I heard something. It was only recently. I'd never heard it before, and I just thought, and it's quite relevant to what you're saying. It's very short, succinct. Said, we have 2 lives. The second life begins when you realize we only have 1 life.
Yeah.
And I quite like that, because it kind of sums it up. It's like you say, life is way too short. Certainly too short for regrets, what ifs, procrastination and putting stuff off.
Some things we put off. My mum used to say, I'd say, come on, mum, let's go and do something. And she'd say, but I've got to clean the house. And I'll say, no, Queen's not coming this week, mum. Come on, we're off. And off we'd go, and we'd go and do it. And she would always, the other thing she'd always say, never be dictated by time. Never be dictated by your watch or the clock. You know, if you want to do it, go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go and do it.
Yeah.
I know COVID's had a little bit of effect on that. Can't always do it.
Yeah, a little bit. Indeed. So I've got a few more really short questions for you. Just kind of short, snappy ones. That I ask some people, but it's interesting because of your taste in music as well. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Chicago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would you do you prefer do you prefer the movie or the show, the theatre show?
I've seen both, and I love both just as much. Right. They really, yeah. I just love the thought of this woman becoming so strong. Yeah, I think that is the powerful. Yeah. Brilliant.
So yeah. Here's one. We've had quite a few stories about nights out in the past, tours and hijinks and all sorts. What does an ideal night out consist of now for Coral Rose?
Oh, no. Well, I don't tend to do nights out. I'll do an afternoon out.
Right.
I like to do the afternoon, go for a few cocktails, possibly have something to eat, but I do still count that as eating is cheating. If you're going to go out for a sesh, you go out for a sesh.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, but I like to be home early now. I can't keep up, you know, I don't want to be out with the youngsters, you know, looking like a mutton dressed as lamb walking down the street kind of thing at 10 o'clock at night. I come home early, and then if I want to get really trolleyed, I get trolleyed in my garden where I don't have far to fall. And nobody can see me.
Change days, eh?
No witnesses. There's too much CCTV in the city, I tell you.
Now, do you know, you're not the first person to mention that. I can't remember. Somebody had said on one of the podcasts we did a while back, they said, can you imagine that there were camera phones and, you know, and people like taking video when we were like 17, 18, 19, 20. Can you imagine?
No, I don't want to imagine. We'd be locked up, I think, now for some of the things that we did. I'm convinced of it. Yeah, yeah. I just wish some of because we have CCTV feed at work, and some of the sites that we see, I honestly wish we could take a copy of that and post it through their letterbox the next morning. I really do. That would stop some of them, I tell you.
Yeah, most probably. So, are you reading a book at the moment, or a book that you've read recently that you would recommend?
Vicky, help me out here. What's the book that I've just read? And I'm asking Vicky because I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, you're on about the fox, the mole, the boy, the fox, the mole, and the horse.
I am.
There you go.
Thank you. What's the story with this then? What's it all about?
It's just about life.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to tell people. I want the boy, the fox, the mole, and the horse. Read it. Okay. It's just life, and it's very short, and you will read it in about maybe half an hour, I think. But I would suggest anybody to read it. It's just, it really, really hit a chord with me. Vicky introduced me to it, gave it me, and I pick it up now and I will read it. And I think, oh my God, that sometimes it's pertinent, sometimes it's just, I know what that's saying to me.
Okay.
And then other times you just let it, just ride. But read it.
Right. Thank you. Two more questions, and then before I let you go, we must have a look at some of the comments, because I've learned to let these comments flow and just enjoy listening to my guests. So, but we'll come to some of the comments, but two more questions. And I'm really glad that you've given me that book, because penultimate question, what would you like to be doing in 5 years?
Retired on a beach.
There you go.
Yeah.
And one last question. What would the story of your life be called? The book of Coral Rose's life, what would that be called?
Oh. I made memories.
I love that. There you go. Thank you very much indeed. Listen, I have had such a wonderful time. Thank you so much for coming on.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
I don't even know where to start with the comments. There's absolutely loads. So we'll whistle through them, but some names on here that you'll most certainly remember right back from the beginning. Dave Large saying hello and good evening.
Hi, Dave.
We had Karen Millward saying hello.
Hi, Karen.
Mr. Gary Murphy. and somebody watching from all the way from sunny Lanzarote.
Wow, look at you.
I wonder now. I wonder if he would mind. Now, you didn't mind last week, so I don't think that Mark Stephen Beardy, to many people that know him, won't mind me letting people know that he's going to be on here in a few weeks' time as well.
Oh.
Who else? Oh, my good lady wife. Yes, she was. She said about blue Smarties. Yeah, blue Smarties. I'm not sure what this comment of Dave's was. He said Graham seems to have a thing about bins. I don't know what that means. I think he might have me confused with someone else. I know there's a few other bin stories from Buchan, but not me. Paula McNulty said, "Hi, Coral. You look exactly the same."
Oh, bless you. Thank you. It must be blurred screen.
Julie as well saying
Hi,
hello. Whereabouts? I can't even go through them. I'm just trying to find. Oh, look, here we go. Mr. Barlow. Hamish was a good guy. There we are. Haley said hello.
Hiya. Oh my God.
There's quite a lot of comments that say this as well, that none of this mutton dressed as lamb. Somebody had said earlier on, you look exactly the same. So there you are. Yeah, wise words from Dave. Yeah, the Navy sailing, Army digging, and the RAF check-in.
Definitely.
And I think we must have been talking, Julie must have been talking about these Bear Deltas.
Excellent.
I think unless who else have we not said hello to? Mr. Fairclough.
Cass, Crypto Cass.
Crypto Cass. And I don't want to miss anyone. I think there's lots more comments from everybody else that's already said hello. There you go. And you said that you thought you might be boring and nobody would tune in and that people would switch off. How wrong can you be? It's been wonderful. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Can you try and get Fraser on here?
Fraser what?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can indeed. Do you know what? His name has been mentioned already. I've dropped him a message a while back. We'll try and we'll do our best. We'll do our best.
I know Vicky's coming on, so
yes,
so I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm pleased she's agreed to it. But yeah, we've got to try and get Fraser on. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be. Listen, please stay in the green room. Vicky's waiting to have a little catch up. But for now, and for everybody that's tuned in, thank you very much indeed. It's been wonderful. Coral, thank you, and good night.
Good night.